Welcome to the Wingman app walkthrough video. We're going to go through labeling your audio tracks based off the slate. Then we're going to walk through the Wingman app interface and what can be done on the mobile version versus what has to be done on the physical mixer. Let's begin by walking through what we see here on the app. At the very top, we have the current take followed by the time code. Underneath the time code reading, we have our record options. We can start a recording. We can then stop said recording. And then we also have a circle take button. This can be programmed to do a variety of tasks on your mix pre. And then we also have an undo the previous take button. Underneath the recording options on the left, we have the current take's name and number. Then on the right side of the Wingman logo, we have the next take's name and number. The big block in the middle of our screen is the metering. You'll see we have mix left and right to represent headphone left and right, and then our channels. Moving on to the next page, file list. We'll see our naming options for the recordings that we create. Here, we can choose to take name, number, and then name our tracks respectively. I know that track 1 has my boom microphone, so I'm going to relabel it to boom. If I were running lavaliers, I would rename them to match the characters. It's typical for a sound recordist to shorten these names, so I'm going to transform Alex to ALX and Emily to EMY. The slate reads scene 4, take 1. Without touching the mixer, we're going to relabel our next audio file so that we can properly match slate. On the iPad version of the app, we have the current and next take that we can change from our transport page, but if you're on a smaller screen, you'll probably have to go to the file list page. So name is going to be what scene we're on. We are on scene 4, and it's going to be take 1. Director now calls if sound is ready. I say sound ready. Director will then say sound speed. I hit record on my app, and I say sound speeds. Director calls cut, and I stop. Now, once we go back to the file list, you'll notice that we are on scene 4, take 2. Without having to do anything, the mix pre has automatically went up to the next take for us. The director was actually really happy with that first take, so we're moving on to 4 alpha. We're going to relabel our mix pre to say 4 alpha for the scene and hit done, and you'll notice that the number automatically goes back to take 1. The next page over in the Wingman app is our reports section. Here's where we can create a sound report directly from the app. Once you're ready to create the sound report, you can also have it automatically be emailed to yourself. However, this requires an iOS email to be set up on the device, which I don't have at the moment. So now once we hit create report, our sound report has been successfully generated, which means we can now find it on the files of our mix pre SD card. So now let's go over some things we can't do on the Wingman app that have to be done through the mixer. You cannot set a track's volume or gain at all on the app. Everything volume and gain wise has to be done on the mixer. You can't format your SD card on the app. You also have to create your project files through the mixer. Let me show you how I like to name my project files. Directly after formatting your SD card, go to the menu, project, new, custom. If I were to choose the date option here, it would automatically create our project file based on today's date, which is September 16th. Might sound nice, but as soon as midnight hits and we transition to September 17th, the mix pre will automatically create a new folder, which it doesn't hurt anyone, but it keeps everything a little bit unorganized in my opinion. So I like to choose custom. Here, I name it after the day of shooting that we're on, and then follow that with the numeric date, September 16th. You always want to have the date on the project file's name. As I name my project files, I don't take into account the days we skip shooting. So let's say we start shooting Monday, we shoot Tuesday, we skip Wednesday, and then we come back on Thursday. Thursday will be considered day 3. That's seriously how I like to do it. Always, always, always include the calendar date in your project file. And very sadly, the Wingman app does not receive any audio from the mixer. This is just a representation of the data that is already on the device. So you can't plug in headphones to your phone and monitor that way. You have to be connected to the mixer. If you're on Apple iOS, you can download Wingman through the App Store. If If you're on an Android operating system, you have to download it through the Sound Devices website, which I'll link it in the description or give a link to someone, however this video gets uploaded, I guess. Returning to you from the future, also known as post-production, everything to connect to the mix pre with the phone is done through Bluetooth. You can set a connection password on the mix pre if you're worried that someone else might have the Wingman app and is trying to connect to your mixer. I don't recommend doing it. It's an extra step in the mornings. And finally, slating. C number is the name of the file that you will record, and then the take is the number. I've been on some bad sets where the directors did not go to film school and they never learned how to slate. At the end of the day, whatever camera is seeing on this board is what you want to be labeling your files as. But you're in school, so luckily you're going to learn how to slate.